Hi everyone, Oleg here, and I know I probably don't sound too good. The thing is, I'm currently sick right now, and today is Saturday morning, so I figured while I'm hanging out in my room and trying to get better, why not make a video and answer some of your questions? Alright, so let's get right to it, shall we? Let me read through some of your guys' comments here, and make sure everything's working properly here as well. Hang on. There we go. Okay. So let me go through some of your comments, and I'm going to say hi to everyone real quick in the stream. Now, I know most of you are probably not going to see this right away, so I might stream again later as well. But since I'm not feeling too bad... Oh, hi, Mo! Okay, I'm not feeling too bad right now. I was feeling a lot worse yesterday, though we still trained. Anyway, let me start reading some of your comments. There's a couple of very interesting ones I wanted to get to. And this is actually going to help make the videos in terms of answer some of your questions here. Specifically, there was a Mohawks question that I didn't get to last time. Okay, this is a question. This was posted on episode 62 by, again, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, by Noshing Manukian. Again, I'm very sorry if I get your name wrong. My skating coach won't let me bring the skate to my instep. She says my foot should be away from my other foot and facing opposite directions when doing a Mohawk. It's really hard for me because I don't have that flexibility. And then there's a follow-up comment made by Jiaki Chen. Again, sorry if I get your names wrong. Nushing Manoaki, I think it's not about how close your foot is close to the other. The key is to turn your toe towards the center of the circle when doing it. I saw this in the other video. Knowing this makes me much better on Mohawk. Okay, so first of all, let's look at some videos so we know what we're talking. You'll understand what I'm talking about here. I'm gonna take myself off the screen and we're gonna look at stuff together now. Okay, so the episode was 62, so we're gonna look at that right now. We're on my website, istanceroleg.com. You go to videos, and here we go, down to 62. Forward inside open Mohawks. And while this is playing, I'm gonna talk and explain what she was referring to concerning what her coach was saying and concerning Mohawks. Okay, so right here we're looking at a right forward inside open Mohawk. So what happens is I bring the foot to the instep, and I'm going to bring the free foot back. Then pausing to show you where the foot placement is. Okay, now it's open Mohawk because the hips remain open right here, and because of where you place the foot to the instep. Concerning what the where her coach was saying, my understanding is that she wants more like a heel to heel when going in. Let's roll this back again. Pause it here. So I'm going heel to the instep, and my understanding is her coach wants her to do more of a heel to heel. Now, let me get myself back on, and I want to explain something for you real quick here. Okay, so what I teach is as defined by US figure skating. So when I say a forward inside open Mohawk and done a specific way, it's not just the way I've been taught, but also the way the rulebook just defines it. However, there's a couple of different definitions for Mohawks under US figure skating rules. So it's not that her coach is right or wrong, or I'm right or wrong. It's just we are talking about slightly different things. So I'm going to read a couple of definitions for you. But before I do that, I'm going to show you where you can get the rulebook, and you can read this stuff for yourself. And that's actually a very good thing to have. I use the rulebook practically every day, just when working with students, when checking things for myself. It's very useful and it's very good, and of course it's free to download, so I'm going to show you where it's at. Okay, so I currently have one open right here, but I'm actually going to take you from the top, and we're going to go to US FSA, that's US Figure Skating. We click on that. We go to Technical Info, and then we're going to drop down to Rulebook. Okay, and then from Rulebook, it's right here. You just click on that, and it downloads. Okay, so now I'm going to get myself back on, and I'm going to read you some definitions All right, now if you go down to about page 250, if you have the PDF open on your computer, if you're looking on a phone, it's going to be a different page, but the rule is 8106 DG 6.00 turns. And it's rules A through E. Okay, so I'm going to start reading. 8106 DG 6.00 turns. A. DG 6.01 Mohawk. A turn from one foot to the other in which the entry and exit curves are continuous and of equal depth. The change of foot is from an outside edge to an outside edge, or from an inside edge to an inside edge. Now, in this case, what it's basically saying is just, if you just take the definition of a Mohawk, it's saying that it doesn't specify the foot placement. So that's the definition, it seems to me, that your coach is working with, which is fine. I mean, you can work with that definition. Now, in dance, we have to work with even more specific definitions, because when you skate with a partner very closely, if you put a foot in a slightly different position, you could easily knock yourself or your partner out. And it's very important to know exactly what your steps are. So even further defined, because there's a couple of different ways to do a Mohawk. Think of it as layers. So this is a Mohawk right here, and it can be further subdivided into several more layers. And what I work with is the more subdivisions. So what I'm saying is I get even more specific than just saying Mohawk. I specify which kind of Mohawk. So the Mohawks, let me continue further. DG 6.02, and this is open Mohawk. A Mohawk in which the heel of the free foot is placed on the ice at the inner side of the skating foot, and the angle between the 2 feet being equal following the weight transfer. The immediate position of the new foot is behind the heel of the new skating foot, e.g. the man steps 8 and 9 and the lady steps 12 and 13 of the 14th step. So this is what I was referring to in the video. So we're going to go back to episode 62, and we're going to look at that. Okay, let me change myself here. Okay, so we're going to go back to the video. So this is an inside open Mohawk. See, the foot is placed to the instep of the other foot, of the skating foot, before switching foot, and then the free foot's behind. That makes it an open Mohawk. So, in conclusion, it's not that anyone's right or wrong here. It's more a matter of which definition that you're working with. And in dance, we have even more specific definitions. Generally, when you're working with someone in dance, you don't say, okay, so you're going to do Mohawk here. If you say that, it's typically understood to be an inside Mohawk and an inside open Mohawk. But in general, as we do choreography or we do dances, all the Mohawks are specified. Is it a closed or an open Mohawk? So keep in mind, a Mohawk could always be subdivided into 2 different Mohawks, an open Mohawk and a closed Mohawk. Both are still Mohawks, it's just in a further subdivision, 2 different ways of doing it. Now, rather than me telling you all this, I'm going to show you this. You know the old adage, show, don't tell. So, we're going to go and look at my Mohawks video. Let's see here. There we go. Forward, inside, open, and closed Mohawks. Okay, and... Okay, now if you look at this video, this is episode 108, and now I've covered all this stuff in different Mohawks videos. I've made a bunch of different Mohawks videos, but in this one I show you specifically that that's a closed Mohawk, and what the difference in a closed and an open Mohawk is. See, what happens is you put the foot behind instead of in. See, now this is an open Mohawk. The free foot gets placed. I'm going to pause this so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. If you're doing a inside closed Mohawk, the free foot is going to be placed behind the skating foot. And then when you switch feet, your hips are going to close off to the circle you're on. So we're going to watch this. There. Like that. See? Hips close off. Now, if you're going to do an open Mohawk, the free foot goes to the instep of the skating foot. Now, it's not behind anymore. It's on the inside. It's in front. Now you make a diamond shape with your knees. This helps with the turnout. This was what you were saying, how it's very hard. Most people don't have a turnout where they can go heel to heel and have a full clean turnout. Typically people have to bend their knees, and this helps a lot. I mean, you can do it on completely straight legs, but it's a matter of, it's more comfort, and when it comes down to it, it's going to be smoother and the edges are going to be more precise for most people, because this really helps with the turnout. Opening up your hip flexors, turning out your knees opposite directions, pressing, turning out from your ankles, all combines to get you this shape. Alright, then we continue further, and then you bring the free foot behind, keeping your hips open to the circle you are on. Alright, well, I think that covers it pretty thoroughly, but let me get myself back on the screen here real quick. Alright, like I said, I think it covers it pretty thoroughly, but keep in mind that there's more to it. I mean, go through the rule book, read the rules for yourself, and so you always understand what is required and what's not required and so forth. It's very interesting. There's all kinds of things you could learn, and especially with dances, if you're working on any dances, you really need to look at the dances in the rule book. They're in the back. If you're working on moves, same thing, they're in the back. So go and look at the dances and moves, read the patterns, read the requirements, so you know what's going on and what's required of you, because there's a couple of dances, for instance, where people make assumptions about what the steps should be, but it's not what the rule book says. And those are the kind of things you got to watch out for. And I've even made that mistake myself before, where when Xenia and I first skated, when we recorded the European waltz, ended it too soon, so we had to re-record the video. After I realized it afterwards, you got to check yourself on the rule book every now and then, make sure that you're doing what it's required of you. Okay, well, let me see where we're at right now. Again, sorry about my voice. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the video, and I'm going to resume in a minute to continue your questions. I do this in order to break up the videos, and that way it's not one super long video, but a series of short videos. People that are interested in the description then could know exactly what they want to find versus having to sit through a 40-minute video. Alright, stay tuned. I will be right back.